Did you notice that some things look really great in cartoons? Like they look amazing in 2D, but if you use real people, they look extremely cringe. They look really bad. Sometimes they look disturbing. Like, for instance, when you watch Dragon Ball and you have a scene of Master Roshi sexually harassing a woman. Like, in the cartoon, it looks like fan service. It's usually ran as a gag. It's funny. You're basically saying that the character of Mount Roshi is a pervert, like he is the butt end of the joke. That's how the scene is played at. But if you were to use actual real people, if you use real human, you show an old man trying to be creepy with a woman, it's disturbing. It's cringe. It doesn't translate well. Because certain things, they look good as cartoons, or they look cool as cartoons. But when you try to make it into a live 2D adaptation, it looks unbelievably cringe. It looks bad. And for some reason, this is constantly inflicted on us. Like, senseless American aggression keeps coming through our entertainment wave, and we have to wonder, like, what did we do to deserve this? No other country, as far as I know of, is using this practice. China doesn't do it. Bollywood doesn't do it. You know, like, Bollywood used to have a different level of cringe with the dances, but like recently I'm looking at stuff that's coming out of Bollywood, and I am utterly shocked to see that it's surpassing the United States when it comes to entertainment. And I know some of you may disagree, but it's not because like Hollywood is better. No, it's because this is what America is producing. This is what I'm comparing it with. I'm not comparing it with stuff that was made in the past that had soul and passion put into it. No, I'm comparing it with this slop. Like, it has managed to become at the bottom of the barrel. Literally everyone else on the planet is now doing better entertainment than whatever the crap this is. And again, it's really disappointing because American entertainment was at the top. It was the peak. And so what they're constantly doing now is by hiring writers that are completely lacking any type of creativity, they're unable to come up with new interesting stories. In fact, I would be surprised if they can actually make something new because they constantly need a previous IP in order to write something. And it started with them getting IPs in order to write sequels and prequels. That's how we got the very awesome Terminator sequel. Or the really nice Ghostbusters spin-off, the all-female Ghostbusters. You guys remember that? But, like, apparently the writers didn't have creativity for that. Like, they probably watched, like, the studio executives probably watched, and so, okay, well, if we ask them to make sequels, they still fuck up. Well, let's get them to do live-action remakes. I mean, you know, like, you can't get more simple than that. Like, that requires, like, the bare minimum amount of creativity. You already have the story, you already have the cartoon, you already have the source material. Like, literally all you need to do is to figure out how to change a couple of lines here and there, and maybe, like, change one or two small elements of the story so that you can keep it interesting. But the reality is the public hates it. Like, everyone that I know dislikes the live adaptation. The only reason that the people that I know defend it is because, they need to keep the rights to the IPs. And I'm like, well, who the fuck cares about their IPs? I'm not on their board of investors. I'm not a shareholder at the company. I don't care. What's wrong with the IP going in the public domain? In fact, I would probably benefit more. Why the fuck would I support their initiative to just like constantly make live remakes of a thing that I already seen? So that they can keep the IP with my money, because that's the problem, right? Like, they want to keep the IP so that they can make more money while also asking me for my cash. Like, fuck no, I'm not going to go see this. And that's the reality of it, you know? Like, one of the problems with seeing stuff like this is that I already know the story. It's like going and seeing a movie where you're already spoiled. You already know everything that's going to happen. There's no plot twist, there's no, right? And so you have the cringe because they're using real life actors by making a story that was designed to fit for a cartoon. And then you already have like the audience knowing everything. So like, what do they do in order to get the audience to watch it? Well, they gotta spark up some shitty controversy, don't they? Gotta come up with some shit to piss off people. So what do? Well, they race swap one character. They race swap one character knowing that they're going to get backlash. Because obviously you would, right? Like imagine taking a story in Bollywood that's about like something that Indians are very proud of creating. Like you take this very famous Hindi love story that everyone in the country knows, everyone in the country remembers when they were kids. And then you add Chinese people in it for no fucking reason, just like so that they're there. And especially if you have people working on the project that constantly talk about how Hindi people have too much privilege in India and how they need to have more representation and diversity and they need to add more Chinese into everything, right? What do you think the answer is going to be? How do you think people will react there on social media, huh? Imagine if you go to Saudi Arabia and you're also making a play that's very famous in the region and you start adding some Israelis in it. You know, like, again, for no reason whatsoever, but like you want to make it known. Like, of course you're going to get backlash, right? And when you get backlash, what do? Well, you already have like the PR thing, like you already have everything written because this is managed by PR companies. Like, they know how the public will react to this. And so, like, they have a script and they become even more antagonistic. And the whole purpose of this is so that everyone keeps talking about it because otherwise no one would talk about the live adaptation. No one would give a shit about the live adaptation. The only reason that it even pops up is because of articles like this. Like, not everyone needs to be white in this community because, like, now people will be talking about privilege and whiteness and shit, and you're spending your day talking about wokeness online. And that's how this ideology spreads. They want you to be interested in the ideology, right? Because, like, otherwise you would ignore the ideology. Just like most people ignore veganism. Just like most people ignore a lot of the environmentalist issues, right? You don't talk about them constantly. But everyone talks about woke ideology constantly because it's inescapable. Every single time you want to unwind, you get a message like this, which is grossly offensive, and then people talk about it, and people have extremely strong feelings about it, and they argue constantly. And even if you're not participating in the argument, like the argument floods your timeline, and it finds its way. Yeah, so like my statement about this, you know, like not everyone needs to be white in this community, I fully agree. But I would go even further, you know, I would do something that all these corporations don't want to do, which is to diversify their audience. Like, why would they want to have an audience that's overwhelmingly white? I mean, clearly that's not progressive, right? And so, by not watching it, by choosing not to be a member in their audience, I, as a straight cisgender white person, I am creating balance, right? If less white people watches, then the percentages change, and you have more minorities watching. I don't want to go there and steal the seat from a minority because, you know, like this may be a very famous film because I understand it's perfect in every other way. So there's probably going to be a lot of people that want to see it. I don't want to take the seat from a person that has less privilege than me, right? From a person that is less privileged than me. Obviously, I don't want to do that. And so I'm not going to watch it. And hopefully, you know, like the company is going to diversify their audience. You need to have diversity on the big screen. But at the second time, it's paramount, I would say. It's even more important that you guys have diversity behind the screen as well in the audience. So anyway, I hope this trend dies down soon because Trump did win. Maybe they will get the memo that they can't be that sadistic, can they? Because like the studio executives do understand that when these things flop, actual human beings, people, lose their jobs. Like, there are individuals that have to feed their families, especially in this economy. And at the same time, they can also ruin the career of a lot of these actors. I don't know who these actors on the screen are, but they look like young people that want to have a career. You're ruining it for them. Like, they're going to now be associated with a flop. And I know it's going to flop. You'll see. But, like, they're going to be associated with a flop. And when they want to go get a job somewhere else, be like, oh, so you played in that. No, like that production insulted the fans. I don't think you're a good pick because we don't want any of that stigma to come our way. So, like, you're doing a lot of damage, not just by doing the senseless American aggression and attacking my airwaves for no reason whatsoever, but you're also doing damage to these actors. And a lot of these actors are getting backlash on social media and they're getting harassed, and it's the studio's fault. It's not the fans' fault, because the fans' reaction is predictable, but the studio can choose to stop doing this shit. They can choose to just start making original stories. They can choose to stop delving into this controversy if they really want live adaptations. They can choose to, but no, like they insist on constantly using these actors as a shield in order to make a quick buck. Anyway, don't forget to read the pinned comment in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.